إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إن خير الكلام كلام الله عز وجل وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. The Almighty Lord says in His glorious uncreated word, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا بني آدم لا يفتننكم الشيطان. O children of Adam, let not Satan seduce you. O children of Adam, let not Satan deceive you. And he says, the Almighty, warning us against the accursed, rejected, two-horned, ugly beast. إن الشيطان لكم عدو فاتخذوه عدوا. Indeed, Satan is an enemy to you, so treat him as an enemy. Satan, the accursed, sees the father of all humans, Adam alayhi salam, as the main reason for him being expelled from paradise, and the main reason for Allah's curse upon him. Thus, without a doubt, he is seeking revenge. He is seeking revenge not only from Adam, but the offspring of Adam, attacking, invading man from all directions. As the Almighty Lord says, قال فبما أغويتني لأقعدن لهم صراطك المستقيم ثم لآتينهم من بين أيديهم ومن خلفهم وعن أيمانهم وعن شمائلهم ولا تجد أكثرهم شاكرين. Satan said, because you led me astray, surely I shall sit in wait against them. As humans, I shall sit in wait against them. On your straight path, he said. And then I shall come to them, from before them, in front of them, and from behind them, and then on their right, and then on to their left. And you shall not see the majority of them as thankful servants. Then the Almighty Lord rebukes him. قال اخرج منها مذءوما مدحورا لمن تبعك منهم لأملأن جهنم منكم أجمعين. Allah Ta'ala tells Satan, tells this accursed, rejected, devilish one, get out of paradise, disgraced and expelled. And whomsoever follows you, I shall fill hellfire with you all. Every single person, all humans are on a constant battle. A battle like no other battle. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day of our lives. The battle with the two-horned ugly creature, Satan. He has made this earth that we are walking on his borders for his battlefield. Every single second, not every day, every second, he implants the seeds of wickedness. He implants the seeds of mischievousness, of evil, in order to drive all humanity, all jinn, to eternal damnation, to eternal hellfire. He enters the soul of men, beautifying for him disobedience, carrying nothing but false promises and glimmering desires, inducing us, drugging us, for indeed he drugs his victims, inducing into them satanic beautification, blocking the servants of the Almighty Lord from worshipping him, casting doubt in their minds. Is this the truth or is it not? Beautifying the ugly, turning evil or making it look like it's good. Evil, he makes it look good. Through alcohol, gambling, music, riba, theft, murder, lies, cheating, deceiving, the betrayal of trust, false oaths, disrespect to parents, pride, arrogance, the love of this world. He makes evil look good. He makes a rock look like gold if it means destroying this person. This is Satan. Why? Because he does not want you to go to paradise. He wants you to go with him to where? To hellfire. So he will try his ultimate in order to chain you to him, glue you to him, and thus drive you into a pit of fire. A pit of fire. And today, the world that we are living in, statistics by the World Health Organizations revealed that the world, more than ever, is drowning in the abyss of the ocean of calamities. Look at the world around us. Soaring crime rates, robbery, rape, burglary, assault, homicide, suicide, killing, murder, drug abuse, family breakups, prostitution, adultery, fornication, and all forms of sexual promiscuity worldwide. Alcohol devastating the majority of the world. But one crime, one disease, one sin that Satan has succeeded in driving, in seducing man into, is the greatest and the most dangerous and the most filthiest sins on the face of this earth, the sin of zina, fornication. A sin that destroys and shatters the homes, that destroys good character, good behavior, that creates envy, jealousy, hatred, discord, enmity between people, that makes the society as a whole collapse, that brings shame, embarrassment to the family and relatives, that destroys the relatives altogether, that breaks them up and that brings or opens the doors to the worst diseases on the face of this earth. Diseases, filthy diseases like gonorrhea, herpes, syphilis, AIDS, and much, much more. This is the reason why the Almighty Lord warned us about the forbidden gaze, the unlawful look. Why? Because it is the first step into fornication. The lustful look is like a messenger for you to commit zina. The lustful look is like a messenger coming to you, inspiring you after igniting in your heart the fire of lust, the fire of desire, the fire of abomination, and thus placing you in the state of ultimate destruction, which is zina. Which is zina. This is the evil. And this is why the Almighty Lord called it the zina of the eye. Because the zina of the eye, the zina in reality begins with the eye. So if you look with a lustful look, Satan hits it. It's like a venom where it hits the other person, he or she in return will look at you, and thus destruction befalls. So he called it the zina of the eye. And here it is important to mention that men are prone to be affected by temptation, by what they see, the image, the scene, more than ladies. Because the emotional reaction in men usually starts immediately after they view an image. And scientifically it's been mentioned that men by nature are visual spatial, if the word in English is correct. Meaning that man, his visual space in his brains is more active than that of a woman. That's why when a man goes to see a potential wife, he doesn't care about what does she do for a living or how much money she has. That's just the side. He puts it on the side. But the first thing he cares about is the image. Is the image. And if she's not nice, you wouldn't ask her anything after that. If that image interests him, then he will go to the second. But the second is easy. The third is easy. The fourth is easy. Why? Because he reacts to what he sees and does not think about anything else. That's the meaning of visual spatial. However, on the other hand, we have the lady. The ladies are classified as being verbal, meaning that they feel to words, tone, kind speech, warm emotions, more than men. And I'm pretty sure those who are married understand that. You come home and give her a beautiful word, it's like you've given her the whole world. But you come home and say that the food was distasteful, it's like you have put the whole world on top of her head. Or you come home and give her a nice red rose, it's like you have given her the whole world again. But you come home with no rose, she will frown in your face and say, you don't love me. So they react to what? To words, to warm emotion. They react not to the image, but to the voice, to the way you confront her. And this explains why they react in such a manner that it changes their whole life. Just by you saying a beautiful word to her or giving her something nice. But when men want to do the same thing or want that to happen to them, there is no comparison. She can give him everything in this life and give him the most sweet talk. But in the realm of men, it does not bother him or affect him if the image in front of him is not the image he wants to see. So, there is a difference between the two. Obviously, and I'm pretty sure everyone understands this. Thus it makes the obligation of guarding the vision harder for man than for woman. If you understand this, guarding the vision for men becomes harder than for women. And this explains why the Almighty Lord mentions the Quranic injunction regarding the ladies to protect themselves by covering themselves from the evil eyes of men. Worshippers of the Almighty Lord, Muslims, believers, know that this eye, and thus the vision, the sight that Allah has blessed you with, is one of the greatest favors of the Almighty Lord upon you. Its duty upon every believer is to show his gratitude to Allah for giving him such a beautiful gift. But showing gratitude does not mean to say, "Bas alhamdulillah," and that is it. No. To show gratitude for this beautiful vision you have been gifted is to employ your vision, your sight, only in that which is lawful. Only in that which pleases Allah Ta'ala. If you love Allah Ta'ala, then look at that which He loves. And avoid that which is unlawful. That which displeases Allah Ta'ala. And indeed, if you love the Almighty Lord, you do not want to displease Him. Are we not Muslims? Do we not love Allah Ta'ala? Then use this vision, this gaze, only in that which He loves, and avoid that which He is displeased with. And in reality, you love the Almighty Lord. However, if you utilize your vision in the wrong manner, it can become extremely dangerous for you. Why? Because the eyes are the windows to the world for the body. Just like a house. Has it got not windows? Has not your car got windows? Why are the windows there for? So you can see behind the windows. You can see what is behind it. And thus you judge after you see. Likewise, your body needs windows. And your windows to the world for the body are these things on your face. Through them you see the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. Through them you see the haram, the halal. Through them you see the veiled and the unveiled, the wicked and the righteous. Through them you see safety and danger. And through them you see, most importantly, that which is haram, wrong to do, thus you avoid it. And that which is allowed to be done, lawful to be done, and then you do it. And then you do it. But when you see something, what happens? Does it stop there? No, it doesn't. Every image that you visualize transfers itself to the heart. And when it transfers itself to the heart, it starts working. It's like a computer. Starts working. And the result comes out. If you are a faithful person, the result is righteous. If you are a wicked person, the result is wicked. An example. You see a lady walking the street. Naked. But glamorous. So you look at her. Now, the image is there. This is very important. Take this example as a very important example. The image is there. Immediately that image immediately transforms itself or transfers itself to the heart. Now the heart, if it's a pure heart that loves Allah Ta'ala, immediately is going to respond how? A'udhu billah. Stop, he will tell the eyes. Hold it right there. Allah does not like this. So your vision is going to be diverted. But if it's a wicked person, he will say, beautiful, continue looking. Look at the beautiful creation of Allah Ta'ala. So he'll continue with his evil because his heart is evil. And this is how it works. Your eyes are windows to the world for the body. And as you all hear or have heard, that a picture tells 1,000 words. This saying is correct. Wallahi, this saying is genuine. How many pictures have not only destroyed people's lives, but also destroyed their way, their character, their behavior, their ethics, their morals, the way they eat, drink, sleep, dress, sit, stand, everything. A picture can destroy your life ultimately. Because in reality, a picture can tell you 1,000 words. For this, the gazing, the forbidden gaze, is like a chronic disease, a plague that infects, that destroys the believing servants of the Almighty Lord. And like any other disease, there are causes for it. And likewise, for every disease there is a cure. Causes that you must avoid, and a cure that you must implement in order that you do not fall in this chronic evil disease. But where do we find the physician here, the doctor? Do we go to Campbelltown or Camden Hospital? Or maybe it's in Liverpool or in Bankstown Hospital? No, it's in none of these. The doctor here is divine. It's in the uncreated word of the Almighty Lord. So inshaAllah ta'ala, we will look briefly at the causes, briefly, and at the cure, briefly. And we call the causes of the forbidden gaze as the arrows of Satan. And the cure is how to break these arrows. So the first arrow, the devilish arrow that we'll mention, are those who follow no other than their desire. And if you follow your desire, you follow the devil. And if you follow the devil, you have obeyed him. And if you have obeyed the devil, you have disobeyed the Almighty Lord, who is the creator of the devil. And if you have disobeyed the Almighty Lord, you are indeed eligible for punishment. Eligible for punishment. But many people are not concerned about halal, haram. They are concerned what their hawa, their desire wants. They're so indulged in evil and wicked that they have made their desire, their hawa, their Lord. As Allah Ta'ala says, أَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Have you not seen the person? This is Allah's statement here. Have you not seen the person who has taken as his Lord his own desire? Meaning, there is no halal, there was no haram in his life. Whatever his desire wants, he implements. Whatever he feels like, he does. Whether it's going to hurt, harm, please, displease, he does not care about anything. One thing he cares about is pleasing his desire. In reality, he is worshipping who? The Subhi? Who is he worshipping? This person who takes his desire as his Lord. He is worshipping the devil. How can someone worship a two-horned, ugly, filthy, abominated creature like Satan? Allahumma musta'an. Allahumma musta'an. Taha alayhi. Isn't it filthy? He's filthy and he is filthy. They're both filthy, these people. A second arrow of Iblis is watching TV, movies, looking in the magazine or newspaper or going on the net, where women excessively expose their beauty or existing in locations where there is large gathering of men and women mingling. And how true was the lyric of the Arab poet when he said, they throw him into the ocean with his hands tied up. Listen to this carefully. They throw him into the ocean with his hands tied up, and then they threaten him, do not get wet. How is he not going to get wet? The example means that you enter these places, you go to these places, the malls, the supercenters, you go on the net with the ladies and so forth, you go into an X-rated magazine or video, and then you say, oh, I don't want to get affected. That's illogical, irrational. Why enter it in the first place? Many men spend a lot of time on roads, in shops, or the shopping complex, or the mall, or the beaches, or on TV, or movies, or in the cinema, or on the net, one of the most evil creatures on earth, the net, which is the devil itself, that's why I call it a creature. Doing what? Gazing at the forbidden gaze. Flirting, talking, looking, chatting, as though there is nothing wrong. As though there is nothing wrong. It's all easy. This is nothing but a poison arrow from Iblis. As our beloved Prophet ﷺ said, in a narration compiled by Sulaiman ibn al-Ash'af Abu Dawood, on the authority of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that Muhammad ﷺ said, the look is one of the poison arrows of Iblis. Whoever lowers his gaze for the sake of Allah, Allah will put in his heart sweetness to the day of resurrection. How beautiful is this narration? But have we understood this narration? Before we look, have we reflected upon this beautiful, golden advice? Wallahi, whoever has reflected and pondered and thus acknowledged and implemented, you will see yourself so faithful that no one can ever break you. Just take this advice from our greatest teacher sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you see a lady on the street or anywhere, avoid that gaze, the forbidden gaze, and wallahi, if you do it for the sake of Allah, not for the sake of your wife, she may be looking, or the sake of your father or mother, they may be looking, but for the sake of the creator of your wife and the mother and father and the creator of you, and Allah will place that beauty in your heart. He will place that sweetness in your heart. Especially when the companions asked Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah, what do we do when we're on the roads? You know, there are people there. Ladies walk, especially in our day. If they were worried then, imagine today. They were worried then about gazing, the forbidden gaze. And they were dressed up those days. And they still asked, and they were scared. Ya Rasulullah, what are the rights of the road? They asked him. And he replied most eloquently, lower your gaze. Do not look. But how many of us have understood this? And in Muslim Ibn Hajjaj's compilation, Ibn Jarir radiallahu ta'ala anhu asked Muhammad sallam, Ya Rasulullah, what happens if I am walking and my gaze accidentally, look at this, accidentally, not deliberately, falls on a forbidden look? What did he say? Oh, it's not a problem, just relax. He said, turn your eyes away. It looks at a forbidden place, or forbidden person, or book, or paper, or screen, or scene, or image, or whatever other balut. Turn your face away. Do not continue looking. Do not continue looking. It is haram for you to continue once you know that it is haram to look at. Especially in this sizzling hot weather that we are currently experiencing. And one of the most grievous sins of summer is what? The sin of undressing. We all know that people in these days are prone to cut down on pieces of clothes they wear. Pieces. I'm not saying full garments, pieces. In other words, they are hardly wearing anything. They might as well go back to their myth of Adam and Eve with the leaf. There's no difference today. And seducing people's eyes. But this is the most grievous sin. The sin of undressing in these hot summer days. It is hard, but not for a believer. And they claim by dressing like that, we are only seeking what? A cold breeze on a hot summer day. We can't dress with clothes that are going to make us hot, they say. We have to relax. We have to cool down. We want natural air conditioning. We want the breeze to hit us and cool us from the heat that we are in. But Allah Ta'ala says what? Informing us to inform these people. قُلْ نَارُ جَهَنَّمَ أَشَدُّ حَرًّا لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ اللهم استعان لَوْ كَانُوا يَفْقَهُونَ Allahumma musta'an. Saying that the hellfire, the fire of hell, is much fiercer in heat if they only understood. Another arrow of Satan is the ignorance of the consequences of the reckless look and how easily it can affect you and indulge you into zina and indulge you in the evil act of masturbation. And as we heard earlier on, the catastrophic consequences of zina itself, how it shatters and destroys home, destroys behavior and character, ethics and moral, spreads envy and jealousy, hatred and enmity among people, how it destroys the society as a whole, how it brings shame, embarrassment to the family and their relatives, and how it spreads the worst of diseases. These are all catastrophic, evil consequences. But when a person is applying this evil, he does not think of it. Does not think of it. Only when it is too late. And when it is too late, he says, what have I done to myself? If he's a believer. But if he's not a believer, he still doesn't care. He can't wait for the second chance. But if he's a believer, he says, astaghfirullah. He knows what he's done was wrong. So think before you do it. Arrow number 4 is feeling an elusive delight when stealing a glance of the forbidden. That is very evil. That you feel comfortable, satisfied when you see that which you shouldn't see. Like you're looking at the person and you're feeling comfortable. You're enjoying it. You're enjoying looking at nudity. Nakedness. That is evil. And wallahi, this is no other than the effect of heedlessness and the lack of reverence to Allah Ta'ala in a person's heart. For indeed, if this person had real glorification, real love for Allah Ta'ala, he would never ever feel in this way. Instead, a person, if he commits haram, like the forbidden gaze, he will feel bad. He will feel resentful, remorse. He will be disappointed. He will be angry. He will do anything immediately to rectify that problem, that sin, by committing a good deed so we can erase the evil deed. This is a believer. This is a believer. Arrow number 5. Turning away from marriage for both men and women for so many diverse, trivial, futile reasons. And what happens after that? What happens after that? If you're able to get married, physically and financially, and you've got that interest, but you turn away, what happens? That explodes indefinitely. The fire of desire and instinct. As soon as you look at that forbidden gaze, you are going to be affected. Because you want that forbidden gaze, and you want more than that forbidden gaze, but you do not want to get married. Why? I haven't finished my university, or my degree, or my trade, or my father disallows me to get married until I do this and that. A'udhu billah, a'udhu billah, a'udhu billah. Fear the Almighty Lord. There is no excuse on the day where nothing will avail you except your actions. No money, no person, no nothing. The only thing that will help you on that mighty day of retribution is that which your hands come forth with. Arrow number 6 is relying on Allah's mercy and forgiveness. And this is commonly known among the majority of Muslims. They commit the evil, Allahu Ghafurur Rahim. They commit the evil, Allahu Ghafurur Rahim, they say. Allah is all forgiving. Allah is most merciful, most gracious. He will allow us to do this, but He will forgive us for it. This is their argument. He has allowed us, and thus He will forgive us. He is the all merciful. He is the all forgiving. He accepts repentance. But they never say, وَهُوَ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ, and He is severe in punishment. Arrow number 7. Repetitive or constant contact with women in various parts of life, especially at work. Especially at work. Naturally, when you constantly meet women at work, it's going to suppress sensitivity. Is it not? If you say it's not, you must be abnormal. Because every single person will agree that when you are in constant contact with ladies, especially of marital status, or beauty, or exposed beauty, you are going to get affected. So constant mixing or linking or whatever you want to call it will affect your heart and destroy your heart. And we all know the story of Secretary Sandy. We all know her story. Especially Dr. Ahmed knows her. And that we do not want to fall into, because it's extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. These are 7 arrows among many that we experience. As for the cure, I'll allow you to choose if you want to continue for the cure that must be implemented, or we want to, inshallah, postpone the cure to next week. And the cure will take about 15 to 20 minutes. Next week, inshallah, because this series of the forbidden gaze will go for approximately 4 lessons. And among the lessons of this series is, inshallah ta'ala, the intermingling with the other sex and what is allowed. Likewise, will lead up to polygyny. That will be the last lesson of the series. And next week, inshallah, we will continue with the cure for the forbidden gaze. We ask the Almighty Lord to purify our hearts from hypocrisy, our chests from rancor, our eyes from betrayal, our tongues from lying. We ask the Almighty to shield our eyes from the hellfire, to guard our vision, and to enlighten our hearts with the light of Iman, our eyes with the light of the Quran, and our insight with the light of guidance. Allahumma ameen, Allahumma ameen, Allahumma ameen. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إن خير الكلام كلام الله عز وجل وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. We continue inshaAllah ta'ala by His aid and permission with the remedies, the treatment against the forbidden gaze, against the unlawful look, and how with the will of the Almighty Lord we can eradicate, obliterate, break those devilish arrows. We have reached remedy number 9. One of the greatest remedies or treatments against the forbidden gaze is indeed marriage. As our beloved Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned in a narration collected by Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari and Muslim ibn Hijjaj on the authority of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anh, that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, O young men, whoever among you is able to marry should marry, as it helps him lower his gaze and guards his modesty. And whoever among you is unable, then let him observe fast, as fast diminishes one's sexual desire. Muslim males and females are enjoined to marry. However, if one does not have the means to get married, this does not entitle him or her to fornicate. Rather, a believer, a Muslim, a muhsin enjoins upon himself chastity. He perseveres patience. He seeks Allah's aid, assistance and help against the accursed. For indeed, guarding one's chastity is one of the greatest trials, exams that the Almighty Lord has imposed upon man. And yes, it requires extreme discipline, extreme willpower, patience. But know, O believing servant of the Almighty Lord, that for he who succeeds, put that in your mind, for he or she who succeeds in avoiding fornication or adultery, your actions will not go in vain. Instead, the Almighty Lord has prepared forgiveness and a great reward for such a person. Careful considerations of the Quranic injunctions and the golden authentic traditions of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam clearly mention that it is compulsory for every single man to get married if he has the ability to pay dowry, to support his wife, is healthy, and for and last, if he fears that if he does not get married, he will fall prey to the evil satanic whisper, and thus fall into destruction. Likewise, a lady who is unable to maintain herself and fears that her sexual urge will drive her into destruction, into fornication, then this obligates her to get married. Here there is no excuse, there is no exemption. You will fall into this category if this befits you, that which we mentioned. We ask the Almighty Lord to protect us, because procrastination towards marriage or prolonging marriage can ignite the fire of lust, can ignite the fire of instinct, of desire. And what happens then? That forbidden gaze can easily lead you to a destruction. So do not take the matter lightly. If you are able to get married, oh young man, oh young lady, do not wait till you finish your university. Do not wait till you finish your HSC. Do not wait till you finish your trade. No. Get married. Because prolonging or delaying or deferring or whatever your marriage due to some reason, worldly reason, could lead you to ultimate destruction in this world and thus the next. So do not take the matter lightly. Do not take the matter lightly. And it is haram for a parent in Islamic law to delay his son or daughter's marriage by claiming, oh, she has not finished, or he has not finished his prestige degree or his trade. He is not allowed to interfere with this child's marriage when the child needs to get married. And if he does so, then that responsibility is taken away from him and given to the next person who's considered her guardian. So we ask the Almighty Lord to make it easy for us and bless us with a righteous partner in order to be strongly encouraged towards the love of the Almighty Lord. Allahumma ameen. Allahumma ameen. Another great remedy, treatment to break the evil satanic arrow is pondering over the ramifications of the unlawful look. How it can lead to destruction in the life of this world, and how it can lead to ultimate destruction in the next. And we have a beautiful story to relate to you. A story that was narrated by one of our pious predecessors, rahmatullah alayhi, Wahab ibn Munabbih, who related a story of the people of the book. He said, there was a pious worshipper, a devout worshipper of the tribe of Israel. He was the most pious of his time. During his time, there were 3 brothers who had a sister, and the sister was a virgin. He continued, the 3 brothers wanted to adventure, leave the town, but their epic was for war. So they started thinking, with whom are we going to leave our sister? She's a virgin, she's young, she's attractable. Who can we leave her with? Who can we trust, in other words? They started thinking and thinking and thinking, until finally they all agreed to leave her with whom? The pious worshipper. Being the most pious of his people, you will not find a better person for this job. So they all trusted him. They approached him and asked, are we able to leave our sister with you? Did he say, yeah, great, not a problem, get her along. I've got a beautiful room, beautiful bed for her, ready. No, a pious worshipper would not want this. He immediately said, no, I do not need this problem. I do not need this obstacle before my Lord. I am a worshipper and that is all I do. You bring her in my life, she's an obstacle. She's a problem between me and my Lord. So he refused their request. They persisted and persisted. Please, we have no one else but you. Please, can you take care of our sister? Until finally he agreed. On one condition, I've got my house of worship here. She does not live in my house. She gets placed in another house near my house. I don't want any interference, any disturbance from this creation. So they placed her in a house next to his place of worship. And she remained there for some time. Every single day, seeing he's the caretaker now, he's got to cater for her. Every day he will make her food, place it on a tray, open his door, his house, his door, place it immediately in front of that door, close the door, lock it up, go back inside and worship therein. This is the way he did, how he worked. Now we all know Satan, A'udhu Billah minhu, Nasrullah al-Afiyah. He attacks man how? Not immediately one bang, no. Step-by-step approach. Once he sees you comfortable with one sin, one step, he will come and attack you with a sharper arrow, with a different step. So this satanic whisper, deceiving liar, this two-horned ugly beast, approached the devout worshipper softly. He was encouraging him, saying to him, you should take care of her. She's a young girl, young lady. It is not proper for you, he said, to allow her to come out of her house, go all the way to your house during the day, where men will look at her and they may come upon her, they may harm her, they may hurt her. It is not proper for you. You're a devout worshipper. You do not want her to be harmed. He whispered and whispered and whispered. The first arrow found its position in his heart. Step-by-step approach. At first, keep her far away from me. I don't want anything to do with her. I don't want to even see her. But now Satan has convinced him to take the food straight to her house and place it at the door of her house and run back home, lock the door and worship therein. This happened for some time. They kept doing this day after day, day after day, day after day. Who comes? He's still comfortable now. This first arrow is hit him. He's comfortable. He has no problem. He feels no negativeness, nothing to run. Satan, his companion, comes back and says to him, if you were to take this tray and place it inside her house, yeah, she's got to open the door, she's got to expose herself and pick up the tray, take it inside her house, it is more proper. There is more reward, he said, in doing so. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Arrow number 2 has found its place. He made her food, placed it on a tray, not in front of his door, nor in front of her door, but opened her door and placed it inside and ran back home, locked the door and worshipped therein. Arrow number 2 has found its position, its mark. He kept doing this for some time. He was comfortable, he was relaxed. And then his companion came back with a sharper arrow this time. See, every time he sharpens the arrows. The first arrow is weaker than the second arrow. The third arrow is sharper than the second arrow. And that's how it works. You know, when you go fishing, if you want to get a fish, a good fish, you don't put the small hooks, do you? You get the big hooks to get a big fish. Small hook is not going to work. The small hook is small. It'll get a small fish, small brim. I don't know much about fish, but I'm telling you that's why I know small brim. But if you want a big fish, you want a shark, you get a big hook, and that would get a big shark. So the arrows is getting stronger and sharper as it goes along. So now he's sharpening the third arrow. He treads slowly to this person, and he starts whispering to him. If you were to talk to her, just talk to her. The poor little thing is lonely. She's in a state of fear. She needs company. Needs company. Just talk to her. Just a bit of talk. Don't be long. Don't be... Just something basic. Whisper, whisper, whisper. What happened? Arrow number 3 found its mark. Corroding his what? His heart, making it darker and darker. You know, when the rust hits, what happens? It eats the rest of the part of the whatever it hits. When cancer hits, what happens? It eats the body within slowly. And these arrows, they're hitting his heart, and they're slowly growing and growing and growing. Why? Because he's accepted the former arrows. Once the arrows are broken from the start, Satan's got no ability on you. But he's finding himself an easy catch. He's accepting his arrows, and he will continue. Talk to her for a while. That will put her to ease and comfort, he said to him. The whisper and the whisper, and thus the arrow hit his heart, and it grew darker and darker. So he took the food inside her house, ran back to his house, locked the door, didn't worship, went to the top of his building. That was the condition, that he speaks to her only from the top of his building. So he calls out to her, Ya Fulana, I am speaking to you. Come out and speak to me, or from the window, or from the door. So this kept going for a while. It continued for a while. And when they felt comfortable with each other, Satan sharpened his 4th arrow. So he came back to this devout worshipper. This devout worshipper, you know what a devout worshipper is? He's a person that worships 24/7. Whether in his sleep, whether awake, whether he's eating or drinking, he's always worshipping. This is a devout worshipper. This is how he was like. But he's getting weaker and weaker and weaker, because the arrows are finding their target. He comes back to him and says to him, you know, you're talking to her from the top of the building. You got to scream out. You got to yell to her. Why? Why don't you come down to the bottom of the building, stand at your door, don't come out to the street, at your door, while she stands at her door, and then talk. He was trying to put logic in him. Satanic logic. So, the whisper was carrying on, the whisper, it hit him, the 4th arrow found its target, growing darker and darker and darker. He was comfortable with this. He started talking from his door while she came out at her door. Ya fulana, marhaba, ahla sahlan. He saw them comfortable. Now the shaitan comes back again, this deceiving liar, and attacks him with another sharp arrow, but sharper than the 4th arrow. This is number 5. He said to him, why does she come from the door of your house? Go to her door, she can sit down at her door while you stand at her door and just talk to her there. There's no yelling involved. It's more mild, it's more comforting for her. You know, her salt is awrah. She can be heard by people. The whisper carried on. The arrow found its mark. The heart is growing darker and darker and darker. And when it grows darker, what happens, Ya Mustafa? The faith is becoming lesser. And when the faith gets lesser and lesser, what happens then? You are subjected to any evil after that. Anything can happen to you. So he came from his door, went to her door, she sat there, he stayed there all day talking to this creature. And then when night fell, he went back home, locked the door and worshipped therein. See, the thing behind this is, What did he do every time he left this sin that he committed? He went back home and worshipped whom? Allati wal Uzza, the cow or Buddha? He worshipped Allah Ta'ala. And the shaitan could not bear or tolerate him worshipping the one that created him. So he's trying to lead him with the sharpest arrow, and the sharpest arrow is what? Committing shirk. Is he going to lead into that? Let us see. He found his position. Arrow number 5 has found its mark. The heart is growing darker. The faith is becoming weaker. He's becoming less devout to his Lord. He's so comfortable talking to her on a daily basis. When night falls down, he goes back home and worships therein. The shaitan comes back to him. When he's talking to her this time, he adorns her. He beautifies her. He makes her look sparkling. That's what shaitan does. He sparkles, he adorns and beautifies the sin, the haram, especially ladies, so you can fall into the major predicament. So he beautified her, he adorned her, a word from him, a word from her. Ta'birini, ya ta'birni. Smile here and a smile there. Ya habibi, ya habibti. What happens then? He kissed her. He kissed her and ran back home. Astaghfirullah, what have I done? He locked the door and did he play his Nintendo? He worshipped therein. So he's still worshipping Allah Ta'ala regardless of what he's doing. These are sin, yes, but they're considered not as major as ultimate sin, which is shirk. So, when he felt comfortable with this, Shaitan returned to him and he beautified her more, he adorned her more. He made her look more appealing and more appealing and more appealing until the unthinkable, the detestable, the distasteful, the immoral, the disgusting, scummy, filthy, abominated act of sexual intercourse partook. That is destruction. That is destruction. He got her pregnant and she had given birth, or she gave birth to his baby boy. He ran back home, locked his door, what have I done? And worshipped therein. He's still a believer in Allah Ta'ala. Even despite he did what he did, but he still believes in the Lord Almighty. Satan comes to him. What have you done? Do you realize what sin you have committed? Satan whispering now. Do you realize that if her brothers come now and see that she has given birth to your son, what they will do to you? He thought and thought and thought. Satan said to him, you have to kill that child. You have to kill that child in order to conceal the affair. He said, yes, that makes logic. And then immediately he came back and said, hold on. Do you think she is going to conceal the affair with you from her brothers? Do you think she's going to hide it? Do you think she's going to hide what you did to her child? Kill her too. Kill her, kill the child, throw them in a ditch, and conceal the affair. He accepted the whisper. He killed her. He killed the child. He threw them in a ditch, leveled the ground, put a rock over that, and he went back home, locked his door, and worshipped therein. Didn't play PlayStation. Worshipped therein. That was arrow number 7. Now, some time went past. The brothers come back. They came back from war. Immediately they went to the house of the pious worshipper. Where's our sister? He mourned her death. He cried and sobbed. She was the best of ladies, he said. She was the best of ladies. She got sick, and that is her grave. putting his head down and crying, as though he had nothing to do with the matter whatsoever. Totally innocent. He walked away. The brothers went over the grave, started crying, sought Allah's mercy and forgiveness for her. They stayed there days and days until they got tired, went back home and slept. Is the matter over? No, it's not over. He's still worshipping Allah Ta'ala. He will not stop attacking, invading this person until he destroys him. Yes, it's a major catastrophe, devastation, but it's not the ultimate sin. So, this time Satan goes to whom? Goes to whom? To the dead? No, the dead is dead. Khalas. He cannot whisper to them no more. What they've done, they did. Khalas. He went to the brothers, the three brothers. Starting with the eldest brother, disguised as a traveler. He came to him and said, in their dream, what happened to your sister? The oldest brother said exactly what the pious man had stated and how he had shown them her grave. Then Satan said, while I was dreaming, he is a liar. This pious man is a liar. He got her pregnant. She gave birth to his son. He killed them both and buried them both behind the door in the house she was staying, to the right of the entrance. Then he went to the middle brother, told him exactly the same story. Then to the youngest brother, told him exactly the same story. All of them had the same dream. They woke up in the morning being surprised, extremely surprised and amazed by what they saw. They told each other and they were in a state of shock. The oldest brother said, it is only a dream. It's only a dream. Don't worry about it. It is only a dream. Don't worry about it. Ignore it. The youngest brother said, no, I will not ignore it until I investigate the matter for myself. I will not leave it until I go to that place I saw in my dream. So they all agreed to go together. They went there, entered the place where the sister was staying, searched for the place described to them in their dream, and after searching, yes, they found exactly where they were told, the grave of their sister and her son. They immediately went to him. While he was worshipping, they stopped him and said, what happened to our sister? He confirmed every single point that happened to her sister as they saw in their dream. They grabbed him, placed him on a cross to crucify him. But before they can crucify him, see, he's still a believer, is he not? He's a believer still. Who comes to him? His companion. His good companion. His evil companion. May Allah keep us far away from him. He comes to him and says, I'm your companion. I'm your companion. I am the one that tempted you with the lady until you fornicated with her, and then she became pregnant, and then she gave birth, and then you killed them and threw them in the ditch. No one can save you today except me. The brothers now are getting ready to crucify him. No one can save you today, he said, except me. But I will not help you. Only after you do one thing. Rely in the Almighty Lord. Rely in your former, in your shaper, in the one that created you. Now, obviously this person is in a state of fear, scared. Extremely scared. So, in a state of fear, shivering, not knowing what's going on. He belied in his fashioner. He belied in Al-Malik Al-Quddus Al-Salam Al-Mu'min Al-Muhaymin Al-Jabbar Al-Mutakabbir. He belied in the one that blessed his limbs, who gave him his life, who all his life he prostrated to. But in the last second of his life, the last second, if not a minute of a second, he belied in him. Thus everything becomes vain, nothing. That 1 second, the destroyed all of that worship. All of that worship. As soon as he relied on Allah Ta'ala, what did the shaitan do? Crucify the brothers? No! He does not care about his death, his well-being. He ran like a swift wind. He ran from him. As the ayah says, كَمَثَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِذْ قَالَ لِلْإِنسَانِ أَكْفُرْ فَلَمَّا كَفَرَ قَالَ إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِنْكَ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. The likeness of the devil. He says to man, disbelieve, disbelieve, I will help you. But when he disbelieves, he will say, I am innocent from you. I fear Allah, Lord of mankind. So immediately when he belied his Lord, they crucified him. And that was his end. نسأل الله العافية. اللهم بعدنا من ذلك رب العالمين. As you can see, the step that Satan took with this person is a step-by-step approach. Small arrow, bigger, 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 until it destroyed him. An example of this is today, when you watch TV, you know what you're watching at first. When you first turn it on, when you first start watching TV, you may say, Astaghfirullah. So what do? You turn your face away from the television with that instinct inside you, I am disobeying Allah Ta'ala. You see something haram on that evil screen, half-dressed lady, naked lady, you say, Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah, what makes you watch it anyway? But you say, Astaghfirullah, that's at first. And what happens after that? When you watch and watch and watch and watch and watch and watch, you become desensitized. You become immune. Oh, it's only a lady. There's no more Astaghfirullah. It's Tabarakallah. So it changes. Your mentality changes. Your thoughts change. Why? Did you not know? Because Satan has approached you and you've accepted him? Why? Because Satan has already struck you with that arrow. And it's found its mark, but you do not even realize it. We have become so accustomed to immorality, to indecency and obscenity, that we don't think novel. It's become a norm to us. Brothers and sisters, before you enter or you step into the theatre, the movie theatre, or a social function, or before you flip through the pages of the magazine or newspaper, or before you surf the net, or gaze upon the billboard or the posters, before you do any of that, or before you sit at night, as we all do, spend our evening on that satanic screen, ask yourself, am I going beyond the limits? Am I allowed to see this? Am I really in the hudud of Allah Ta'ala, the boundaries? Does He like this? Does He want me to see this? Is He accepting of this? If you do not ask yourself, nor do you care, you have been eaten by that Satan. The arrows are getting bigger and bigger, and you do not even realize. An example which is a gross example, which was mentioned by our beloved brother Talal. He mentioned to me once, it is like the toilet, where if you are waiting for the toilet, someone's in the toilet, someone's before you, and they're doing their major job. It's gross, but it's very, very, very logical. Someone's waiting for the toilet. He's doing a major job. You can smell it from outside, to be more precise. And then he leaves the toilet. So when you enter the toilet, your hand is on the nose. You cannot bear the smell. You cannot stand the smell. You have to vomit, but you still got to do your job. So, slowly and slowly, while in that disgusting smell, what do? Becomes, it's not bad after all. You become immune. It desensitizes you. Wallahi, it's true. It becomes a norm, does it not? Becomes something, okay, not a problem. I can bear it now. But when you first initiated it, a'udhu billah. A'udhu billah, it's like an earthquake. But then slowly you become immune. This is exactly the same example of sin. Slowly, slowly, slowly you become immune to the surrounding that you are living in. That's like work, for example. How many of us go to work? At first, when he first started his job, he knows it's haram. He knows it's haram to mix with this lady, to touch this lady, to continuously look at this lady and talk to this lady. He knows it's haram. So he fears Allah Ta'ala, he's got some feeling there. But the more, becomes not a problem anymore. It becomes easy. The environment that we are living in, you go outside today, you go to any shopping complex. If you're a believer, you cannot leave your eyes looking upwards. If you're a believer, you'll be too scared to look upwards because there's nothing there but evil. But when you continuously do it and continuously do it, it's like a big deal. There's no more sort of concern. You don't care no more. This is a major, major problem. Wallahi, a major problem. But only those who think, who reflect, understand this. Realize, the beloved, that Allah Ta'ala is watching you, seeing you, hearing you. The ramifications is extremely dangerous of the forbidden gaze. We know in a hadith collected by Bukhari that in the hereafter, when Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ascended to the heavens, he accompanied whom? Jibreel and Mikael. He said, we went along until we got to a pit that looked like an oven, out of which we heard cries and screams from. So we approached this oven or this pit, glanced inside it, and we saw naked men and women who screamed when the flames from the below raised up high and touched them. And it took them up and up until they almost fell from this pit. But then it subdued the flame and they went back down. He said, Ya Jibreel, who are these people who are going through this tormentation? He said, these are people who used to fornicate, commit adultery in the life of this world. Today, sex is portrayed in various forms, whether it's on your TV or the cinema or the magazine or newspaper or on the net. Look at the billboards, look at the posters, where images of sexuality is beyond control. Beyond control. There's no word for it. Sex has become a topic where advertisers, marketers are doing what? Are using most effectively to sell their product. It's a market. The woman has become merchandise. They are played with and sold as man pleasers. And they call this liberation. And this is corruption. Whenever you go between men, what do you hear? Conversations about sex. That's all you hear. When you go to the hair salon to get a haircut, the first thing you see in front of you is what? Magazines. And many times pornographic magazines. You can't even go into the service station, wallahi, without putting your head down today. Because as soon as you enter the service station, ban! A'udhu billah! It's like, that's all they care about. And this is one of the minor signs of the hour. One of the minor signs of the hour. We are being extremely trialed, examined here. Wake up, reflect, ponder, contemplate. Am I doing that which Allah is pleased with or not? And this leads to what? It conjures what? Promiscuity, fornication and adultery, lewdness. It leads to rape and teenage pregnancy. It leads to all sexually transmitted filthy diseases. This is what it leads to. Today we have reached a stage where man, or through effective marketing we can say, man, individuals in society are justifying everything they do as sexual liberation. And modern times, as you all know, consider premarital sex as a trend, as a fashion, where 15 years ago, if not less, premarital sex was abhorrent. It was the unthinkable. It was immoral. It was evil. It was filth. It was illegal in the Western society. No one even talked about it. They were too scared to talk about it then. Now it's not like that. Look at the media. It creates the impression of what? That premarital sex is fashionable. That homosexuality is beautiful. It's a trend. And anything that goes against that is old-fashioned. A typical example of this is that when you watch a few episodes of that devil, prime time soap opera, let us say, on TV, the impression they give you, just a few, not 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 or 2 episodes, they immediately give you the impression that adultery is beautiful, allowable, that premarital sex is fashionable, that deceit, trickery, lies, deception, manipulation are most essential to get the man of your life or the lady of your life, no matter what the cost of harm, hurt, suffering others go through. They call it sexual liberation. If this is liberation, if this is democracy, if this is freedom, so why do we have so many examples of the following scenarios? HIV for example. How many young adults are infected with this virus at alarming rates? At alarming rates. Wallahi, they're too scared to even mention it on television these days. It's so high, there's no use no more. It's beyond control. Beyond control. It has reached HIV or AIDS epidemic proportions worldwide. Mainly targeting whom? Teenagers and young adults. If it's called sexual liberation, then why are girls from the age of 10 to 15 years old, 10 to 15 years old, having sex? First devastation, catastrophic consequence partakes. And when asked about the situation, why at 12 years old you're having sex, what did she say? No one told me it's wrong. And no one told her it's wrong. If she walks outside, she sees it. The TV's on, she hears it. She walks to it. She sits on it. Everything today is related around this. How is that poor child going to know? Those who have daughters, who have sons, beware, beware, beware. Your son, your child may fall into this predicament. And thus you see teenage pregnancy, phenomenal these days. And many of them abort their child. But the consequence, it leads this abortion for this child. It's like a child being pregnant with a child. That's what it is. A child being pregnant with a child, not an adult with a child, but a child with a child. And what happens then? It leads to emotional, to physical, to mental, to psychological disturbance. It scars the person for life. How many men or women are being divorced or getting divorced due to an adulterous relationship? How many females from the age of 2 to 80 years old are being raped? This is sexual liberation now. They claim it to be sexual liberation. All these dilemmas, and they call it sexual liberation. Homosexuality is in the increase. Every day you see them with new rights, new laws. Everything's being legalized, even gay marriages. You walk anywhere in the world, hey, if you're against it, you're old-fashioned and you're fault. The issue of sexual liberation is in fact enslaving those very people who are trying to free themselves from sexual liberation. It itself, in other words, is enslaving them. The sexual liberators are being shackled, chained in the chains of what? Disease, divorce, dissatisfaction, discontent, deceit, deception, double standards, evil, wickedness, and their lives become such. This is those who claim to be on the path of sexual liberation. And this is why we see individuals, organizations, or even governments today searching, actively working to find solutions, to find a cure for this wave of immorality, followed with its truckloads of problems. The answer is there. The answer is there for this dilemma and for every other dilemma. What is the answer? The answer, the solution, the cure, the remedy, the treatment for every perplexing social problem is one. ISLAM, no other. No other. This will give them ultimate treatment, the cure. A word that is so cheap, so easy. You know, it's not going to cost you billions of dollars to get this remedy. It's for free. Allah has given it to you. He's giving you salvation from all evil in this world and the next. Islam is your solution, is your remedy, is your treatment. O person who works day and night, who is indulged in the abyss of life and materialism, Islam is your solution. Follow your deen and you'll be comfortable in what you do. Islam gives you the solution for every single dilemma that exists on the face of this earth. Nothing else but Islam. From fornication is what? The forbidden gaze. Don't look, and wallahi you will not find yourself in that problem. That forbidden gaze can destroy you, brothers and sisters. Wallahi it can destroy you. As one shaykh, I've mentioned this to the brothers before. One shaykh, a scholar who was the imam of Masjid al-Haram in Medina. When he left his apartment to go to stand in the mihrab, in the chamber of al-Haram, he would always put his eyes towards the floor as he walked from his apartment, approximately 50-meter walk to the Haram itself. He would walk with his gaze towards the ground, knowing that if he looked up, astaghfirullah, and these are veiled ladies. These are veiled ladies. But maybe their eyes are unveiled, maybe their face is unveiled, because a lot of tourists there. So this shaykh would look down and walk directly like that. I used to accompany the shaykh every now and then. He said to me one time, I fell into destruction one day. I go, how ya shaykh? He goes to me, one day I just raised my head and glanced at a lady who was unveiled, only in the face. And that hurt me and harmed me for 3 weeks. I could not do anything good for 3 weeks. 3 weeks he was affected by one single gaze. And that was only their face. Because he has iman. He has faith in the Almighty Lord. He believes in Allah Ta'ala. And that affected him. We don't get affected at all. We look and look and look and look and say more. And now we say to ourselves, we ask ourselves, why is our worship, our iman so low? Why is our acts of worship so weak? Why are we so minimized Islamically? Why? Ask yourself. Ask yourself. The more you adopt sharia, the more you adopt iman, the more you adopt that which is obligated and avoid that which is haram, the more faith that you will get. And it's a guarantee from the one that created you. Think, reflect and ponder, dear beloved brothers and sisters. The matter is in your hands after the Almighty Lord. It is up to you, not up to your neighbor, your father, your mother or son or daughter. It is up to you. Reflect. Take a minute. Ask yourself, is this action going to be against me or for me? أقول ما تسمعون وآخر الأعوان الحمد لله رب العالمين. We will continue inshallah next week with the topic of the forbidden gaze. We've still got 2 more lessons. Next week inshallah ta'ala we may initiate the topic of hijab. And that is likewise a remedy against the forbidden gaze. For indeed if a lady is veiled in accordance to the Islamic guidance, it prevents man from visualizing her an effect in his heart. So we ask the Almighty Lord to bless us and to lower our gaze from all that which is forbidden. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Anas reports that when he entered Medina, every single thing in Medina illuminated. And then when he died, everything in it became dull, dark. And as soon as they finished burying him, as Anas mentions, their hearts began to grieve due to love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For indeed those who lived with him loved him dearly, to the extent that they would not care if their necks were cut off, as long as not one thorn pricked Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask the Almighty Lord that He unites us with the prophets, the saints, the righteous and the truthful on the day of resurrection. Tonight, inshaAllah ta'ala, I was approached by some brothers reminding us that we were on a certain strategy last year, which is 4 weeks on, which is lessons, and 1 week open forum, which is the 5th week. Every 5th week is an open forum. And I said, please can you once again? I said, not a problem, inshaAllah ta'ala. However, as I was in the bookstore, I was flipping through some books, and my eyes caught this book, which is only a small little summarized book, which consists of approximately 10 pages. 10 pages, however, there are golden rules, issues regarding the intermingling between the two sexes. And seeing that our previous lessons related to this topic, which is the devilish arrows of Satan and how to destroy it, we will inshaAllah ta'ala like to mention the issues that these scholars have mentioned and explain very briefly each issue regarding the prohibition of mingling between two sexes, what is allowed or what is not allowed. So inshaAllah we will try to do this very quickly, and then we will inshaAllah open the room for discussion. And we should understand that this is the work of the scholars, most of the scholars. In other words, the majority of scholars' opinion is mentioned in here. So we'll begin inshaAllah ta'ala. As the author mentions, it should be borne in mind that the following forms of ikhtilat, which is mingling, mixing males and females, the following forms of ikhtilat are forbidden, not disliked, listen carefully, are forbidden. Let us see number one. Number one is women mingling with their paternal male cousins, or women mingling with their maternal male cousins. In other words, both types are haram. You are not allowed to mingle with your cousins. Oh lady, dear beloved sister, dear beloved brother, it falls on you as well. You are not allowed to mingle, to mix with your male relatives, nor are you allowed to mix with your female relatives without any exemption. Meaning, if you go to a gathering, you don't say, they're my cousins, it is alright. I can sit, talk, laugh, joke and play with them. You are not allowed to do this. You are not allowed to do this. An Islamic sitting segregation is that the males sit separately and the females sit separately. They do not mix together, one big bunch collectively, as though they're all maharim on each other. any person that is not your mahram, keep far away. Keep far away. Even though he's your cousin, even though she's your cousin, because you are allowed to marry this person. And any person you are allowed to marry, there could be ignition there from Satan. He could ignite the forbidden gaze, and thus lust, instinct, desire will be created in that heart of yours. And all these weeks that passed, the last 3 or 4 weeks, will be mentioning this, warning against this. So do not say they're my cousins, there's no problem. There's a major problem there. A major problem. Your cousins you can marry. So you are not allowed to mingle with them with the excuse, oh, they're my cousins, they're my blood. Blood is death, it's destruction. And it could lead to all illicit promiscuity. Number 3, the wife's mingling with her brother-in-law. And that, as we mentioned last week, as the hadith says, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالدُّخُولَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ فَقَالَ رَجُلٌ مِّنَ الْأَنصَارِ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ أَرَأَيْتَ الْحَمْوَ فَقَالَ الْحَمْوُ الْمَوْتِ. Beware of approaching, sitting in audiences where there is only woman or woman. And a man from the Ansar said, Ya Rasulullah, what about the brother-in-law? The in-laws? He goes, that is death. That is destruction. And how many people today are lenient towards this? But it's only my brother-in-law. Or the husband, he's only my brother. He can take her out, for example, on a journey to the doctor. He can take her shopping. He's allowed to enter my house. My brother is not allowed to enter my house when I'm not home. His house is like my house. This is the poison arrow that he throws at you. That my brother, he cannot enter my house when I'm not there. It's his sister-in-law. It's my wife. He's my brother. Big deal, they say. Big deal? You can lead that person and that person, both of them, to destruction. That's what the hadith says. Al-hamwu al-maut, death, destruction. It can lead you to an eternal punishment if you're not careful. There is no leniency here. There is no leniency. Your brother can end up being with your wife in the worst of ways. And how many times has this happened? How many situations and cases that come to you and say, Wallah, my brother done this to me. Well, of course he did this to you. You allowed him to do this to you. You allowed him. You've given him the key to do this to you. Why did you allow him in the house without you being there? But he's my brother. If he's your brother, but take the advice. Take the golden advice from this beautiful narration. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. You will be the cause of this. And you will be considered a person, the husband. If he allows his brother to enter the house while he's not there, while his wife is there, you will be called a dayyuth. And a dayyuth is the one who does not care whether men talk to his wife, she talks to men. This person in English is called a what? A cuckold. A dayyuth. And he's cursed. And the hadith mentions, he will not enter paradise. When a man allows his wife to be talking with other men, men talking to her, not a problem. They're my brothers. Or they're my cousins. Or they're my friends. She's your wife. She's your wife. She's a weak person. They're weak people. Anything could partake, anything. The venom of Satan is powerful. It's powerful. If you are not careful, you do not take care of that precious pearl of yours, that ruby, you could lose her. You could easily lose her. Because the poison arrows of Satan are very, very sharp. are very sharp. Number 4, the wife's sisters mingling with her husband. And this is another case that we see in our society. Amongst us Muslims I'm talking about, not the kuffar. The kuffar are kuffar. Who cares what they do? They do the most evil, filthy things. But they're not accounted for because they're not Muslims. We don't look at them, we look at ourselves. How many sisters of the wife talk to the husband? To him it's his sister-in-law. Oh, it's only my sister-in-law. I can chat, I can play with her. There's a game that's called Bull Rush. I don't know if you've heard it. It was in my days, in my olden days. And Bull Rush is a game that we used to play where you can fight and wrestle with the person, and whoever puts the other down first, he has to race to the end of the line, and come back to the place when you put the person down. Now this is played, I actually witnessed this being played by sisters and brothers on one occasion when I approached them. Now the sisters here were the sister of the wife. She was playing with her brother-in-law. And I said, what are you doing? To the brother who was playing with the sister-in-law. She's only my sister-in-law, it's not a problem. She's only 16, 17 years old. 16, 17 years old? That is the worst of ages. Goes back. Khair inshallah. What khair inshallah? Of course it's khair. But what you are doing is not khair. And he tried to justify his actions and this and that and whatever. This is destruction. This is evil. This is un-Islamic. It's not allowed in Islam. Because she's your sister-in-law does not permit you to go and play with her, touch her, go out with her, take her to the shops or to the doctor. Oh, she's my sister-in-law. She is not allowed for you in any way to be alone with you, to talk only when you have to talk to her. Even to talk to her, you have to have a reason to talk to her. This is the misconception that we have allowed it to be, without understanding or rectifying this problem. It's only my sister-in-law. I don't want to know more than that. I don't want to know it's haram. It is haram. It is haram, and know it's haram. Keep away from this. You have no reason to talk to her, don't talk to her. You have no reason to see her, don't see her. That's the way it is. This is Islam. You want to be Muslims? Be Muslims. You don't like this talk? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees what we are saying tonight, and tonight you are judged. So you came, walillahil hamd, this is being passed on to you, you are accounted for it, because now you are not ignorant no more. You are no longer ignorant. فَمَسْنَسَرَ اللَّهَ الْعَافِيَةِ. May Allah help us all. Number 5. You know, I can see some brothers about to stand up and go. They don't want to continue the whole session. Is there anything more beautiful than light, the light of Islam? Number 5. The mingling of a woman's brother with the sisters of his foster sister. And this is the one that many people have not understood, because they don't understand the situation of fosterhood. Foster relations is of 2 types. Understand this very carefully. You got one type, which is the parents have a daughter, have 5 daughters. You're born, you're male, you're born, a male was born. The mother of these 5 daughters suckles, allows him to suckle her, breastfeed in other words, from her. How many times? 5 times. 5 separate, different times. This young lad, young child, breastfeeds from this mother 5 different times. She becomes his foster mother. Foster mother. He becomes her mahram. every single person in her family is related to him through foster relation. Is that understood? The 5 daughters that she's got become his foster sisters. He is allowed to be independent. He is allowed to talk to them. He can take them out wherever they want on their own. He is not allowed to marry them. Likewise, his foster mother, her sister, which is his auntie, his auntie, she is likewise his foster auntie. Everyone in her family becomes related to this child. Is this first scenario understood? The second picture is, you were born, you see a mother who's only a foster mother, but not the real mother of that child. In other words, you, a male, another girl was born, she a female, 2 of them. At the same time, suckle from that lady. It's not their real mother. It's not their real mother. She's only a foster mother. She breastfeeds both of them. When they each had 5 suckles each, they become sister and brother, even though they're not related before that. They become sister and brother. However, if she has sisters, they are not your foster sisters. Is that understood? Or the scientist understands it, because a scientist, he's got that intellect, but some of us haven't got that intellect. Is that understood? Is that understood? I'm going to ask one of you to explain. This scenario, there is no relationship with that mother at all. She is the mother, his foster mother. But that child, because it's not from the same, it's not her blood child, she does not become, her sisters do not become related to that boy. It's only her directly and no one else. But the foster mother, her sisters, her brothers, her family, grandpa, grandma, they become related to this child. I hope that's understood. So the Shaykh is referring to which situation? To the latter one, which is the sister of the one that is not directly blood to that mother. Number 6, the man who has proposed being alone with his fiancée. He's going out with her, and her talking to him before the marriage contract is conducted. A man is only allowed to look at his fiancée in the presence of her wali, which is her father, her adult brother, her adult son, and so forth, when he has firmly decided to marry her. Another situation today where you see many people committing bid'ah. As soon as a person is interested in a lady, he goes to the people's house, and what do? Al-Fatiha. So Al-Fatiha is conducted. Now they believe that Al-Fatiha, Al-Innovation, they believe it to be what? To be a contract. A contract. This is not a contract. This is not a contract. It's a syntact. A syntact. That's what it's called. And not only that, it does not allow you, under any circumstance, to be allowed with this person after Al-Fatiha. There is no allowance whatsoever. Why are you laughing like that? You're making me laugh. So, here we get this problem today, which has arisen, which is what? You see, many brothers, for example, La, khalas, I can take her out, I can go out with her, I can talk to her, I can this, I can that, I can whatever, because Al-Fatiha has been conducted. This is not allowed. You have no right over this lady until the marriage contract has been done. And what is the marriage contract? You have a sheikh, you have 2 witnesses, you have the wali of the person, and then you do the contract. you mention the dowry, you mention the conditions. You are allowed after that to be with her alone, talk to her, take her out, do whatever you want, because you're married now. But as for the first situation, you are not allowed to be alone with her. You are not allowed to take her out under any circumstance, because the contract is not binding. Because it's not a contract, it's only a verse that is recited in a improper place and area. Understood? Alhamdulillah. Number 7. The groom ascending an elevated bridal platform or stage with his bride in front of other women on his wedding night. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. And I'm pretty sure we all witnessed this in our past, in our hooligan days. We've witnessed this. But in our Islamic days, can we witness this? Of course we cannot witness this. It's haram. Where you see, especially the liberals amongst us, where you see, tabarakallah, the bridegroom dressed up with a nice suit, greased up hair, nice tie, his wife is on the ascension, on that big throne, and then he is presented before all the women, and he sits with her. This is haram. This is haram. You are not allowed to do this. You are not allowed to be anywhere in that place where there are women of such en masse. You must be away in the men's section. They are in the ladies section, and this is the way it is Islamically. But to go before the women and confront them, this is an un-Islamic approach, and you are committing a sin. Likewise, number 8, the ascension of the relatives, the groom and the bride on an elevated bridal platform or stage in front of other women. And likewise, you get many times where the relatives all come and they want to sit with the couple on each side and in front of all the women. This is haram. A man is not allowed to approach or confront the ladies under any circumstance, even if they're veiled. Even if they're veiled. For him to be there is not a proper place. This is a woman's section. What are you doing there? You want to be a woman? You can go there. But you are not a woman, so keep out of there. It's out of bounds for you. It's haram. Even the husband, the bridegroom, for him to be there, he should understand better. Even if they were to chain him or shackle him and try to drag him into that place, he is not allowed. Say, A'udhu billah, taqullah azza wa jal. Fear Allah. Fear Allah. Keep in the boundaries of Allah Ta'ala and keep far away from this. This is the one who fears Allah Ta'ala. No, wallah, it's only the night, it's alright, khair, mashiyah. There's no mashiyah here. You get many people, for example, when there's music, or, he's a fearful person, he's a pious person, but he says, the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, they want this, it's only the night, inshallah, it's all going to be over. What's going to be over? Haram? It's all going to be over? What if Allah quakes the earth before your very feet? Is it over? It is never over. That incident that partook that night is always there. It's recorded. It's recorded. It can never be over. It can never be over. Do not take minute issues to what you believe minute. It's easy. This is severe. This is severe. There is nothing minute in Islam, haram, minute haram. So it is not over. Keep far away from this. No music, no mixing, no platform, no being there. Final. You don't like this, my love? Keep away from me. You're not a righteous person. So it is. You don't agree with this, the Islamic law, the Islamic tenets? Keep away from me. I don't want you. من أول الطريق أفضل من آخر الطريق, they say. The start is better than the last. And then when you have kids, you have this, you have that, and then, Allahu musta'an, she draws you into a mental institution. Because it's only the night. That night entails and entails and entails, and anything can break loose after that. Likewise, the bride herself, if it's the man who's like that, if he's a cuckold, and he wants to allow his wife to do, or expose herself in front of men, or have music, she is not allowed as well. And if she sees this deficiency from him, Put it this way, I would never allow my daughter to be with a man like this from the first of stages. Using male servants in the women's section at parties in some of the hotels, as is the case at some wedding parties. And this is another situation that we see, that they say they're only waiters and there's not a problem, they're hosts. This is a major problem. This is a major problem. And if you know of this and thus you allowed your wife or your female responsibility to be in that place, you are considered a youth, so beware. Some women mingle with men who are not directly related to them under the pretext that they are from the same tribe or extended family. That is like the clan or the tribes, that because they believe they're from one clan, then it is not a problem to allow the mingling to partake. This is haram. It is exactly the same as the paternal and maternal cousins mentioned earlier. Number 13, being lax about allowing teenage girls to mingle with young men or older men who are not related to them by claiming that they are still young. This is very, very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. Brothers, sisters, you have daughters. You have sons of age which is adolescence. This is a very, very crucial age. A very dangerous age. How are you able to see men around your daughter at the age of 15, 16, 14, 17, 18, with the excuse they're only young, they're teenagers? This is not allowed. It is not Islamic. Do not take this lightly. Men use them as prey. Men today are like predators towards women. And that's the reality. There are many evil people out there. Do not take these issues lightly. Take them with full conviction and acceptance. Acknowledge the situation and implement what you hear. For when you know this and you do otherwise, you are judged for it. You know, how can we allow our 16-year-old or 15-year-old daughter who's just a flower that has not opened up to be with men, to be with young men, older men? Is this logic? It is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. When Asma bint Abi Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, when she entered in Muhammad's room, he saw her with clothes that were transparent. You could see through. He goes, "Ya Asma, when a woman comes of age, she is not allowed to show except her face and her hands." In other words, cover yourself. You're of age now. She could have been 12 years old, 13 years old. So he warned against this. And like I said today, it is very, very dangerous regarding the issues of teenage children. Beware, because a lot of young men like to experiment things they haven't before, and they prey on young girls like them. If not them, Sallallahu al-Afiyah, is the older men. So be careful. She's your daughter, and treat her like a precious golden thing. The taxi driver or chauffeur being alone with a woman in the car. This is not allowed. Oh, taxi drivers, you are allowed to taxi drive. But when are you allowed to taxi drive? When you are doing it in an Islamic way. You must understand the etiquettes of taxi driving. And it is very basic and simple. That you do not do haram. How easy is that? And among the haram is when you allow a lady in the car on her own. You're saying there are people around you in driving in the car as well. This is the excuse that is mentioned by the majority of taxi drivers. But there are cars just side by side, in front and behind me and whatever. You're independent here. You're alone with her in the car. You're underneath the same ceiling. It's enclosed. It's closed. You're captivated. You're seduced. It's like a claustrophobic room. Nothing but your breath and her breath. Your eyes and her eyes. Except one other eye, which is Satan. 3 eyes now. Not 2, 3 eyes. إِلَّا كَانَ ثَالِثَهُمَا الشَّيْطَانِ. Except that the third of them is the devil. Now when you're with this person, oh, where do you work? How you going? Are you sick with your sandwich? Where can I drop you off? And are you enjoying that place you're going to? And then the talk begins. And then we mentioned the beautiful hadith of last week, which is the devout worshipper. Slowly, slowly the arrows became sharper and sharper and sharper until when? That arrow became too sharp and thus destruction befell. And this can happen right here. At the end of the day, you are not allowed as a taxi driver to be alone with a woman in the car. You are not allowed. There is no excuse. You are not allowed to take a man, if you're a taxi driver, to somewhere that is unlawful for him to go, even though he's a kafir. You are not allowed to take him to a place like King's Cross, or to a pub, or to a club, or to a disco, or to any devilish place. This is not allowed as a taxi driver. So in reality, can you taxi drive? It's very restricted. Very restricted. At the end of the day, من ترك لله شيئا عوضه خيرا من ذلك. He who leaves something for Allah, Allah will exchange that which he left for something better. Put the trust in Allah Ta'ala, and Allah indeed will give you that which is better. 15. Women who go to Hajj and travel without a mahram, husband or mature male relative. As we mentioned last week, a lady is not obliged to go to Hajj unless she has a mahram, unless she is able to go. And among the conditions of her having that ability is to have a mahram. If she has no mahram, you are not allowed to travel. You are not allowed to go. Wallahi, even if it was to Melbourne from Sydney by aeroplane, to go to Melbourne, 1 hour flight, she is not allowed to go on her own. She is not allowed to go. Anything that is considered travel, a lady is not allowed to go unless she has a mahram. So going to Hajj on her own is forbidden. Even though she's got 1 billion pious ladies and 1 billion men who are righteous, if none of these men are her mahram, she is not allowed to go. Finalization. That is the Islamic law, and that is what we worship. Number 16, mingling between the male and female students in the classes, in the universities and schools. He mentioned this one, but it's a very dangerous one, is it not? Is it not a dangerous one? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Astaghfirullah al-azim. This is a matter where every single one of us have taken lightly. Have taken too lightly. You want to educate your wives in a devilish way, and you leave the Islamic way. But. This is the excuse. It's always, but, I need her to be a doctor, a teacher, a bis, a bat, a shaitana. Because that's all she is. That's all she is. No matter how pious she is, she goes to university, and you, oh man, allow her, you are a cuckold. That's all you are. There is no other word for her. For you, and there is no other word for her. For disobeying Allah Ta'ala. Think about it. Think about it. Be logic, be rational, have common sense, think about the situation. A lady is sitting here, she's your sister, she's your mother, she's your daughter, she's your granddaughter, she's your niece, she's your wife. And then next to her, whether in front, behind, there is a man, is a man, is a man, is a man, is a man with an earring. Whatever he is, I don't know if it's a man, it's got an earring on. And he speaks like a man. Can you allow your sister or your wife or any other female responsibility to be in that class? Can you really think about it? You're a Muslim man. You care about your female responsibility. You care about her. Wallahi, if you allow her to go there, you don't care about her. You're a liar. An L-I-A-R, a liar. Nothing else. And beyond that, you are a cuckold as well. Because if you allow your female responsibility to enter a room where there are men in that room who she can see and they can see her, and there's a man teaching her even worse, who is likewise with tight jeans, 501 denim jacket, earrings coming out of his head, and then he's teaching your wife? He is teaching your wife? Person like him? You're saying you want her to be taught by a person like him? Now come on. What have you reached? What have you reached? There's a group out there called the Female Liberators. And they are the Muslim sisters we're talking about. It just has come up now. It's an innovated sect in Islam. A new sect. This is genuine. And this sect follow one idiot, without mentioning his name, who he himself allows them to have beach or swimming parties at his house. In by bathing suits, costumes. And they're destroying our sisters in Islam. Their sisters. They're learning from this evil source, and these sisters are becoming modernized to what they believe is Islam, liberation. It's allowed. We are allowed to learn. We are allowed to go out. We are allowed to be free. We don't have to listen to our husbands. We can be whatever towards our fathers and our brothers. And they are full. These sisters are taking over the universities today. Allah, there are many cases that have come to us recently about these people who are twisting the truth, distorting the facts of Islam in the sisters' minds. Says, brothers, think about it. Just the fact that your sister goes, or your mother goes, or your wife, allowing her to mix with men, is it right? Where in Islam is this? Just give me one narration, one, that allows one. When Aisha would walk to the masjid, she would cover herself from the man, cover her face, fearing that a man might look at her. When Fatima was asked by her husband Ali, what is a righteous way for a lady? He asked her, what is a righteous way for a lady? How can a lady be pious? She responded to him that she does not look at men, nor do they look at her. Now when you're in that classroom, what is happening there? What is happening there? Brothers, sisters, think about it. Think about it. Many sisters, wallahi, have become un-Islamic and have apostated because of this issue. Many. So look, there's no real need for us to go any further in the topic. It's understandable. It's understandable. It is not allowed. It is not allowed. And this is not my saying, it's the saying of the scholars. Scholars did not differ about a woman going to university where there's mixing of men. They allowed her to go where there is a university who is only for ladies. This is not a problem. Even there, they make conditions for that person as well, regarding the university she's going to and so forth. But they did not differ about a Muslim lady going to a university in the West where there are men there, or in wherever in the Islamic lands where there are men as well. They differ about the man going to university. The man, not the lady. They differ if a man's allowed to go to university. A man, not the lady. So the man likewise, do not take this lightly. It's not only the sisters, it's you yourself as well. Yourself. Don't think you're safe from the situation. Just as the ladies are not allowed, scholars have differed regarding you. You're a Muslim as well. You've got conditions and rights against you. Number 18, the mingling of some students who study in other countries with Western families and living with them in one home. I think they call it exchange student, is it not? Or there's another thing that's called the pen pals, foreign exchange. And that is un-Islamic, where they allow students to go overseas, or from there they come to here, and thus they enter a family for a month or two, or for as long as it takes for them to finish the course, and they live with them as though it is their family. This is haram. Or the pen pals, likewise, it's not acceptable. Pen pals are when you start, it's the pen where you start writing letters to a person overseas, or she writes or he writes to you. This is not allowed in Islam. This is a kufr way, not an Islamic way. The call for sending women abroad for the purpose of continuing their higher education. This leads to the fact that these women adopt destructive Western ideas. There's another evil practice that we see. When she finishes from the minor devil, she goes to a major devil. And they're all devilish. But it's like she's advanced into another devil now. And when our devils are of different sort of levels. So from one devil to a larger devil. Number 21. Mingling of male and female students at the higher levels of education with the claim that this is necessary for specialized studies. Haram. 22. These are all haram here. It's not like it's allowed. It's given us the prohibited ways. 22. Male instructors being alone with female students in working on university theses with the claim that this is necessary for supervision in conducting research and preparing the thesis. This is haram. Even though he's your professor, or he's a PhD person who's doing his thesis, and he has been obligated to take care of you while you are doing your thesis, whether it's the master's or the PhD or any other thesis. You are not allowed to be with this person independently. It is haram, no matter what the reason is. Under any circumstance, you are not allowed to be with this male. The call to attend various lectures, poetry sessions and conferences that are given by women or men, and where men sit side by side with women. This is un-Islamic, as we all know. Ladies are not allowed to sit beside men, and they are not allowed to sit beside the men are not allowed to sit beside the women, and so forth. So this is as well haram, and we see this in the theatres, the lecture theatres, where if it's not mixed, it's side by side. This is not Islamic. This is not Islamic. As the hadith mentions that the distance the lady is, the more Islamic it is. So the ladies in reality in Islam should be behind the men. The further the better. Not close to the men, not side by side the men, but far from the men. And this is the Islamic etiquette for congregating between men and women. This is allowed. You are allowed to have ladies. For example, the ladies in there tonight, if there was an area in the back, they can sit in the back section without any veil. There is no harm if that permitted it in this room. So this is allowed, but you are not allowed to sit close to them, side by side, or so close that they can exchange their vision to each other. There's one sister in university, I was doing a lesson there, and she goes to me, but how are we going to find our boyfriends? I said, A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim. This is a sister in university. A university student, in other words. 25 female nurses and female doctors mingling with non-related men, even if those men are also nurses and doctors. Just because you're a doctor or a nurse or a scientist doesn't mean that you are allowed to mingle with the other party. It is not allowed. So there's no excuse here. You've got no excuse. No matter what you are, how you are, what occupation you do, you are not allowed to mingle with the other sex under any circumstance. There is no allowance here. There is no allowance unless that which Islam allowed. The male doctor being alone with the female nurse or female doctor, not allowed. Not allowed. The woman uncovering herself for a male doctor without any need or necessity, or while there is a female doctor available. Many of us go to doctors, physicians. We may need to go to see some kind of treatment for our sickness. However, we do not go to the female doctors if it's a male person unless there is no male doctors. Likewise, your wife or the female does not go where? To a male doctor unless there's a real need for that. And if she goes, she must have a mahram with her. If there's no mahram, she is not allowed to go. So if she goes to a male doctor and there is no female doctors except him to treat her with that disease or sickness, she is allowed to go there. She has to have a what? A mahram with her. And when she goes there, she does not uncover except that which she needs to uncover. For example, when she's in the room with the doctor and her mahram, she doesn't say, okay, hijab's taken off now, he's a doctor. No. It doesn't work like that. She's not allowed to do that. He is allowed and only allowed to see that which he needs to. There was a situation that was taken that happened not long ago. A elderly lady, she has niqab on, and she had an ear infection. So she went to the doctor. She asked me if I'm allowed to do this. Before she went to the doctor, I said, of course she can go to the doctor if there's no one else but him. And it was a necessity, and there was no female doctors at that time, and she was really in need to go to this person. So she went there, and pious lady, we think of her best. The doctor said, okay, then can you show me, can you take the hijab off? She goes, no, I won't take the hijab off. I don't have a problem with my face or my head, it's my ear. She unveiled her ear. She goes, here you go. You can see my ear. That's the problem is, and only here. It's okay then. He responded. That's all he needs to see, her ear. So you only limit it to that which is necessity. So she unveiled the ear, and he treated her. Take the hijab off, and the dress off, and this and that off. What for? Anta abi, anta abuya. You're not my father. But ladies, many ladies don't care. Women and men mingling freely at parties and on other special occasions. And this happens just about every single day, where many people mingle, whether it's at home, whether it's in parties, whether it's out in the park. And even, subhanAllah, we see this amongst the university students again, where they have excursions to certain parks, and they mix, wallahi they mix. And I think there was a recent excursion in Sydney University, where the Muslim organisation there organised some kind of barbecue or whatever. They went to a park, and they were mixing as they were brothers and sisters, related, brothers and sisters, talking to each other, exchanging thoughts to school, what they're going to do in the Islamic in the Islamic perspective, in their university. This is not allowed. And subhanAllah, why are we doing these things? What is happening to us as people? Where in Islam does this allow us? Why have we changed? Why are we so deficient? Why are we so weak? Why are we allowing this to be? Why? It is not allowed Islamically. Have we reached that state of weakness? Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Because you go to a person's house and you see them mixing of relatives together, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The mixing, where the two couches, for example, a family is there and a family is there. His wife is with this person, the husband, talking to each other, joking and laughing as though there is no tomorrow. Brothers, sisters, be Muslims. You will be asked about every movement that you make. Every movement. There are many more. We'll continue, inshallah. There's only about 5 or 6 left that look important. I would advise every brother and sister to get this book, inshallah ta'ala, which is called The Mingling Between Men and Women is Prohibited. It's in the bookstore. but we'll probably have to order a couple more boxes. But it is a very, very, very important book. Mingling of women with men at medical laboratories and clinics with the claim that this is necessary for work. Understood. Mingling of women with men at amusement centers and recreational areas with the claim that it is a family day. Haram. Mingling of women with men at restaurants and cafeterias with the claim that they are in the family section. Haram. Mingling of women with men, or women being alone with male store attendants and shopkeepers. Haram. Mingling of women with men in shopping centers, malls, markets, etc. Haram. The woman traveling alone by car, plane, bus or other than that without a mahram with her. Haram. Women allowing male photographers to take their pictures. Haram. Mingling of women with men on innovated special occasions such as the Prophet's birthday, the night of Isra, and other innovated religious festivities. Haram. As you can see, there are many haram, and this is only basically a minute part of it. At the end of the day, what is allowed, very basically it is very simple to understand that you are believing male, you are not allowed to allow your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother to be in the presence of a man only when she needs to, when there's a necessity for it, and that is the only time she is allowed. Is a pizza delivery man allowed to deliver food to a place that he knows is used for haram? Example, a brothel or a club. That's a good question. Absolutely haram. Question. تفضل يا عمر. سلامة الله. Sorry, Amar. Not only is he not allowed to go to a brothel, sorry bro, but he's not even allowed to go to a house where he believes, he knows there's only a lady there. So you can't even exchange a pizza on the door between you and a lady when there's no one there at the house but her. This is not allowed as well. So understand the situation very carefully. You are not allowed to be in the presence of any lady on her own, even if it is delivering a pizza, whether it's Domino's you work for, or Pizza Hut, or Pizza Plus in Bankstown, called Pizza Plus, or something like that. It's Halal Pizza Plus, I think it is. Is it Pizza Plus? You haven't been there? Good pizzas. No, Amar. The halal too, you get that beautiful meat on it. Because we're deprived, walillah alhamd, from going to Pizza Hut and getting that big Super Supreme. But over there you can order the Super Supreme. No matter what he puts on it, alhamdulillah, it's halal. So is a Pizza Plus? You're from Bankstown? Quite sure, is it? No.